Okay, well, good morning. I'm going to try a little walk and talk here. I'm out in this beautiful fall morning, out for a hike with my little puppy there, Otis. Otis is a Brittany Spaniel, and he's the newest addition to our family. And as you can see, I'm doing a bit of what's called a ruck hike. So I have some friends that were either current military or ex-military, and they kind of got me into this, which is basically, Otis, I don't think we're going to be able to go this way. It's basically loading up a pack with some heavy weight and going for a long march or a long walk. And it's a really great form of exercise. Let's see if Otis can make it through here. Oh yeah, got a lot of water here on the right. So in this video I wanted to talk about, yeah, the dog's getting a little muddy. That's okay. Let's fix yourself here. Stay, oh, good boy. Good boy, there we go. In this video I want to talk about exercising your will. The importance of exercising your agency and how that relates to actual physical exercise, but also how it relates to authenticity. So part of it is understanding like what we have in mind by agency. By agency, it's your ability to act on your own behalf, to take action, and sort of the metaphysical structure, if you will, of human agency is something like this. There are two parts of you. There is the part that is the commanding party, the part of you that takes aim towards some future horizon or possibility that you can actualize, something that is worth doing, something that matters. There's the part of you that issues the command. And then there's the part of you that is like the dutiful soldier. The part of you that says, okay, I'm gonna see this through and I'm not gonna let you down. So the part of you that is the Samwise Gamgee to Frodo, or whoever it happens to be. So you are both parts. And you need to exercise that dynamic, that dialectic. The part of you that can take aim and issue a command that says this is worth doing, this is where we're heading, this is what matters to me, and the part of you that can see it through. And physical exercise is one of the best ways to work that dynamic. So when we engage in physical exercise, people talk about the mental health benefits of physical exercise, but they often kind of talk about how it improves oxygenation in the brain, clarity of thought, releases dopamine and endogenous opiates, or whatever kind of neurochemical processes are sort of at play with that. But we often don't talk about just how physical exercise involves strengthening your will, and how strengthening your will improves confidence, improves your sense of self-worth. It's acting on your behalf, which implies that you are worth caring about, that you are worth taking care of, that you have the power within you to overcome adversity and challenge. And so with physical exercise, your mind is saying, okay, we're going to pick up this heavy weight, or we're going to, run for this distance, or whatever it is. And then your body, the other part of you, let's say, is grinding it out, is enduring some kind of suffering or difficulty, right? So by repeating this process and exposing yourself to adversity and challenge and even a bit of suffering, whether it's physical exercise or whether it's taking a cold shower in the morning, which is something, by the way, that I would highly recommend, you cultivate a strong will. You're on the path to developing an ironclad will. Someone who won't back down, someone who will stand their ground. And that's very important. It's a very important part of mental health. And just even the health of a society. So I've sort of alluded to this before, I've talked about this before, but we are living in a society at present that is taken over by the masses, and we are a weak society. We are a society of weak-willed individuals, and I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I mean that in the same way that if you have a weak back or weak triceps or whatever it is, you need to strengthen that muscle. You need to exercise it. You need to work it, and we haven't been working that. So by being taken over by the masses, I mean that there's a part of us that is it's a part of us that we didn't choose. It's a part of us that belongs to the collective, in essence. So there's a part of us that basically does what falls into lockstep with what Heidegger calls Dasein, the they or the one. We do what one does. We say what one says. And we sort of submit ourselves to a kind of slave morality, slave to, this collective ideology or assumptions or what have you. And we sacrifice ourselves, essentially, because that's giving up the most important, most essential part of what it is to be human, which is to have free will and agency that we are capable of exercising. So I should also say that if you haven't been paying attention, the world is heading down a very precarious path. I'm not going to list off all the things, but we've the last 2 years we've been more or less in lockdown. Small businesses have suffered and have shut down. People have suffered as a result. There's been unprecedented money printing, which, as you should know, just basic economics. You increase the money supply, and then you're going to have eventually inflation. That's what we're experiencing right now. And with inflation, you have a rise in the cost of just basic day-to-day necessities, and then your standard of living is going to suffer, and there could be, a greater recession or even a depression, and so on. We have governments all over the world right now, working toward increased censorship. In Canada here, we have our Prime Minister who is attempting to regulate the internet through a new proposed bill. So this is going to shut down people's capacity to speak freely and, just ensure that we are more likely to just continue doing what the government tells us or what the media tells us, and just doing what one does. But again, if you want to stand against this sort of thing, or if you want to have the capacity to stand firm and be true to yourself, you need to develop an ironclad will, and that's what we're talking about here. So I have a little bit of a story, actually. When I came onto the trail here, this will illustrate some of these points. I was just trying to get my heart rate up a little bit, get the blood flowing, because it's a little cold this morning. And so I'm doing a brisk little jog here with the pack. And I have a neighbor friend, well, not really a friend, an acquaintance, let's say, who I don't know very well, but that seemed like a very nice person, who's walking a dog with their friend. And she's about to pass me, and she scrunches her face up, and she says, "Where are you going?" And the facial expressions are both disbelief and a kind of mockery. Now, what is she doing when she does that? Well, she's speaking on behalf of the collective, on behalf of the one, or the they, or she is Agent Smith from The Matrix, saying that one does not go for hikes with a heavy pack. That's not what one does. In other words, explain yourself. And at some earlier time in my life, I think I would have, sheepishly, made some self-depreciating remark or something like that. In this case, I didn't. I just kind of looked right back at her and Didn't say anything, and she said, "Are you training?" I said, "Yeah." And then I said, "Where are you going?" And she said, "Just for a walk," as if to say, that's what one does. One just goes for a walk. One doesn't go for hikes with big military packs, and certainly not running. But if you want to stand out, if you want to have the ability to separate yourself from the herd, you're going to have to be confident in standing apart and not getting caught up in those explanation games. So I heard Corey Anton, who's a professor, and I don't know if he's a philosopher or a communications guy or whatever, but he talked about this sort of thing, explanation as motive. And if you can, you don't want to submit yourself to the explanation games of others, and you want to run by your own explanation game. And so, he talked about, if you are going to live outside of the average person's, explanation games that justify, the kind of life that they want to live, you're going to have to be a bit different. You might even have to be a bit like Kramer from Seinfeld, where he's doing just these, strange things. He's just kind of doing his own thing that makes sense to him, and confusing and baffling everyone around him, and he doesn't care. And that's the attitude that many of you want to have as well. And it's something that takes a lot of practice. It took me a lot of practice to get even reasonably good at, but I feel pretty good about that. And having that ability to stand alone, to stand outside of the masses, the crowd, and not kowtowing to, their explanation games and trying to give some account of yourself and why you're doing what you're doing and so on. It develops character, and it creates anxiety. It's a bit of an uncomfortable place to be, but that's how you develop courage, And I'm not saying that I'm the exemplar of that kind of thing. I'm a work in progress, but that's, I think, something that you want to do. So again, we're talking about exercising your agency and exercising your will. There's a part of you, however small, that says, look, this is what I want to do. This is what matters. I want to be a person who is physically strong, who is mentally capable, someone who is able to disagree with the crowd, with the masses, and take whatever insults they throw at me, stand in that discomfort. I want to do that. And what are the steps toward doing that sort of thing? Okay, well, one little step at a time. There's a part of you that says this is worth doing. There's a part of you that sees it through. And like the dutiful soldier, the reliant shipmate to the captain, I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to see this through. And you grind it out, and you suffer whatever you have to suffer, and it feels great on the other side of it. So I hope some of you can benefit from that. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.